Do Indonesian women hate the West? Or in other words, do they hate Western countries? Or for that matter, do Indonesian women and men actually do not like Western countries? Indonesians in general. This is the topic of today's video. I find it fascinating to learn about this because I released a video a few months ago, and the title of this video was "Why Indonesian Women Don't Like to Work in Western Countries." And I released that video at the time because I also learned something, you know. And in this video I'm talking about how we as Western men, especially we Western men, have to question our assumptions, you know. Because many of us, especially the newbies who have never been to Southeast Asia or to Indonesia, many of these guys think that, you know, these Indonesian women, similar like the Filipinas and the Thai girls, they want just to leave Indonesia behind. They want to have a better life. They want to become wealthy. They want to become rich. They want to enjoy the high life. You know, they want to enjoy all these material things, and they're heading for Western countries, Europe, Germany, France, America, Canada, Australia. These are very common assumptions many Western men have. And in this video I released a few months ago, I sort of clean up this whole issue, and I point out that this is absolutely not the case. It's not that many Indonesian women really want to live in Western countries. Maybe some are playing with that thought, yeah, but it turned out after the massive feedback I received from Indonesian women that this is not the case, yeah. And actually they really don't like Western countries at all, and they prefer Indonesia. And today in this video I will actually share some true comments of these Indonesian, mostly Indonesian women, but also some guys commented. And I want to share this with you because it's very interesting. Many Indonesian women also, there are, what I also didn't know before is, because I also was thinking along the same lines, you know, these Indonesian women, why don't they, I think they want to become also, you know, want to live in Western countries, we are more wealthy, more money and everything. No. Many Indonesian girls actually, they are afraid of dating foreigners, Western foreigners. And when I heard this the first time, I was puzzled, you know, I said, why? No, they are afraid because, yeah, they have to go to a new culture, to a new country. They are afraid that this Western guy, her Western husband, actually will uproot her, transfer her back to America or to some Western country. And then, of course, she has to get familiar with the new environment. She has to learn a new language, new culture. Everything is new. And then also she would be apart from her family, from her known environment where she grew up, where she feels comfortable. And many Indonesian women actually are afraid of this, you know. They really don't want to move to Western countries, you know. Family is very important to them. That's one of the biggest dynamics. Talking about wealth, many Western men also underestimate that Indonesian people are actually wealthy, you know. Maybe not in terms of bank account statements, you know, but, you know, and this is true, Indonesians, many of these families, their own rice fields, they're planting fruits and vegetables, they have their own houses, you know. So this is also actually considered real wealth, in my opinion, you know. Money is important, yeah, it facilitates trade and exchange and everything, and we all need money, there's no question about it, it's important. But, you know, how many people in Germany have their own rice fields, or let's say wheat fields for that matter, because we cannot grow rice? To be honest, I don't know anybody in my closer circle or more extended circle who owns a wheat field or who is growing fruit and vegetables. There is simply none. And I know a lot of people in Germany. So where's the wealth? Are German people even considered wealthy? I don't think so. Most of the Germans also just scraping by, having to work 9 to 5, dead-end jobs. You know, they hate their work, but they need to do it in order to pay their bills, right? So this is just here a quick introduction here to give the context and to set the table, you know. Question again, do Indonesian women or Indonesians in general hate the West? No, they are not hating the West. But now when I share with you these comments, it will be very interesting to learn also for you about the psyche, the feelings, the beliefs, the values of Indonesian people and Indonesian women, and also about their culture. Maybe the Indonesian mindset in general can be summarized in one sentence. And it is a very traditional saying in Indonesia, and it goes like this. Eating or not eating, the most important thing is to be together. This is how many people say in Indonesia. This is what I learned from them. To eat or not to eat is not so important as long as you are together. And I will not explain this saying any further here, because I strongly believe that you can come to your own conclusions what this means. And you really have to think about it, because it encompasses actually a certain mindset, a certain culture, a certain philosophy, a certain mindset and philosophy which has escaped many Western cultures already. The comments I received from Indonesian women and also guys who have experience with Western countries, they lived in these countries for decades, yeah? So they were not just only short stints, and they lived in various countries, the United States, Canada, Europe, Germany, Japan, Italy, Singapore, Australia, you name them. It's also interesting to know that according to one statistic, about 90% of Indonesian overseas workers actually want and will return to their home country, unlike other Southeast Asian nationalities. So that number already speaks for the strong connection Indonesian people have for their home country. So, first comment was by a lady who already lives 10 years in Singapore. She has lived 10 years in Singapore and 4 years in Germany. She complains that in these Western countries, it's all about rules, you know, rules everywhere. And I can relate to that because I'm from Germany, you know, and German people, it seems to be all about rules, right? Yes, of course, rules are good, rules are bad. This woman said that rules are not bad, but, you know, too many rules can be also detrimental. And she is sharing the story of her parents, which are quite old already. And in Indonesia there's also public transportation. I think it was a minibus or something like that. Her old parents were riding in a minibus, and it was raining outside. So her parents asked the driver, the minibus driver, whether he can just make a small detour and drop her parents directly at their house, because it was raining. And if the bus driver would have followed the regular route, then that would have meant the parents would have to walk 20 minutes in the rain. So long story short, the driver said, there's no problem, I drop you off. And also the other passengers in the bus, they understood. There was no arguing about it, no weird looks or angry looks, you know, oh, what is the driver doing here? Like that would be in Germany, you know, like in Germany, and this is what the lady pointed out, in Germany this will never happen, and in Singapore the same. And she is right. You know, no German bus driver will deviate from his route. This is a fixed route and it needs to be followed, and blah blah blah. Yeah, this is exactly what she was talking about. So, and of course her parents gave a little bit tip money to the driver, so all good, you know. So This is one comment. Another guy commented, that's a guy actually, I believe, 16 years. He spent now 16 years in European countries. And he just said, it's weird in here. That's what he said, yeah. It's boring. That's, and the comments I will give you here, they are repeating, you know. So they are very telling. They're repeating somehow, but very interesting. So this guy said, it's boring over there, no smiling, the people don't smile, and they complain a lot about a lot of things. And yeah, I can relate to that also, without going into further detail. The next comment, Indonesians and Indonesian women in particular also complain about the cold weather. Yeah, of course, depending where you live in Europe and North America, yeah, you have 4 seasons. You know, of course, Indonesian people are not used to cold temperatures. And this person made a very interesting comment. She pointed out that she noticed while living in Europe that, or in other Western countries, that people there in these Western countries, they rely a lot on the government, which is true. And she said, you know, these Western people, they want, it seems that they want their government to fix their problems. Yeah? And this is a very interesting statement and comment, which actually is somehow also true. In Indonesia, also the Indonesians know there is a government, of course, but of course this government is also questionable, right? There's a lot of corruption going on, we all know that, blah, blah, blah. But you cannot rely on the Indonesian government to fix your problems, so much like maybe in Western countries. I think in Indonesia the government is more there for the purpose to make the life harder than easier, right? Maybe it's like that. Maybe this is how many Indonesian people feel, and also the women, you know. So they rely more heavily on their family and friends and neighbors. This is the social construct, the social structure in Indonesia. This is their social safety net, right? This person or this woman also shared a story, which is true, not only in Indonesia. When your parents die, or your mom is dying, or your dad is dying, you know, then the whole community, the village, the circle of friends and relatives, they all collect money in order to help the family to pay for the funeral. This is very common in Indonesia, this gotong royong system, you know. This is also very common in Malaysia. I believe in the Philippines it's the same, but definitely it's the case even in Thailand, I know that. I remember last year when I worked in Thailand, one of my employees, her husband suddenly passed away. It was a very sad story, and the whole hotel, we all collected some money and then handed over the money to our colleague in order to help her with the financials, because her husband also was working, right, and earned money. So another comment I got from an Indonesian girl is she just moved to Japan recently. So this is a new chapter in her life. What she noticed already is that Japanese culture seems to be very similar to Indonesian culture in terms of family values. So the family takes center stage in the life also in Japanese culture, and that's good, you know. But she found that the Indonesian culture is even more family oriented and puts even more emphasis on family. This is her feeling, her impression. And she already now, even just being there for a short while in Japan, even now already, she misses the small talk in Indonesia, you know, when you go through your village or through your district or through your environment. She misses the small talk with the people. She misses the greeting and smiling at strangers, you know, and without getting weird looks, you know. Try to do this in Germany, you know. Try to walk down the road or the street and smile and greet strangers. They will think, are you nuts? What the hell are you talking to me? Even, you know. This is the kind of mindset in Germany. It's not because we Germans are so rude or cold or bad. No, it is also, of course, due to the culture. It's just a different culture. You know, in Germany we just deal with each other in a different manner. Yeah, but this is what this lady is missing, you know. This, yeah, chit-chatting, smiling, greeting, you know. Another lady, she is already 20 years in the United States. That's a long time, but she is yearning to come back to Indonesia. She can't wait to pack her things. She probably has family there and stuff, you know. She is also pointing out and complaining that she feels isolated, very lonely. She made a very interesting comment, and I branded it like this: many miles, no smiles. What it means is she can walk for miles in her neighborhood in the States and there's nobody smiling, you know. Everybody is just doing their thing. Even though the Americans are a little bit different than German people. When you travel from Germany to America, you will notice, you actually think, oh, the Americans are very open, you know. Very often they would say, hey, how are you doing? How's it going? But of course, it's only on the surface. Later you find out when you spend some time in America. But you know, this Indonesian woman lives there for 20 years and she figured it out already. Once she prepared some appetizers or canapes and stuff like that, you know, some small snacks, and then she invited her neighbors, you know, or she went to the door, knock, knock, and offered them, you know, just, this is, I think, what people in Indonesia, in Indonesia do for bonding, right? So she's done it in the States, but she was very disappointed because apparently the people just grabbed the food, said thank you, and then the next day everything was back to normal. You see, even after 20 years, she is still struggling with this, yeah, cold mentality and kind of selfish mentality of the US Americans. Another comment is, it's a little bit more a balanced comment here. This person said that you have good things in Indonesia, you have bad things in Indonesia, and of course you have good things in Western countries and also bad things, which is true. But this person said she is lacking the humor in Western countries. So yeah, good luck if you move to Germany. you will miss a lot of humor. I mean, German people also have a sense of humor, but if you compare the Indonesian sense of humor with the German sense of humor, I can imagine it can feel very, very strange and weird and cold if you travel from Indonesia to Germany, even permanently, right? Another lady said, very interesting, Indonesian people actually want to bring the 3 F's when they travel to a foreign country. And the 3 F's are food, fun, and family. So if Indonesian people could bring their own food, their own humor, their own fun, and their own family to any foreign country, then that would not constitute a problem whatsoever. And I believe that because these are probably the most important things for Indonesian people, especially the family, right? And they miss their food, I can tell you that also. Many people complain that they cannot find their food ingredients in these Western countries. But you cannot blame these Western countries for that, right? Different climate, different spices, different fruits, and different vegetables. But yeah, and there you can see this is what they miss when they are transplanted to other countries. They miss their food, they miss the humor and the fun, and they miss their family. And the rest, they can deal with it, you know. The rest of the things in Indonesia, they can leave behind, basically, you know. They are willing to do that. Another woman who lives in Australia for 11 years, married and 2 children, also said that, yeah, the community is different, the dynamics are different in Australia, she's not feeling so comfortable, and also she's pointing out the negative influences of society. I believe she's talking about especially the more modern influences and the bad influences, the detrimental influences like social media and stuff, you know. So, and she also just looks forward to go back one day. In the beginning, she was actually very excited and happy to move to Australia, but now she is pondering together with her husband whether or not she they should move permanently back to Indonesia. Another comment I got is, again, this girl feels very lonely overseas. The people are not friendly. There is no street food, which is true. And I will travel to Germany next week, and I will miss the street food already. It's cold, she says, and yeah, no family and friends are there, which we mentioned already. Another woman who lives in Italy already for 12 years pointed out that although she could already become an Italian citizen, I believe, she wants to keep her Indonesian citizenship. This is also a comment I receive very, very often, very frequently. Indonesians rarely give up their Indonesian citizenship, and she is that kind of a person. She says, I'm just here for making my money, and once I got my money, I just will go back to Indonesia, enjoy my life with my family and friends in some rural places in the province, and that's all I want. And this is actually, I like that, it's a very humble mindset, a very simple mindset, the simple things who count, who are important, not money, riches, wealth, flying business class, bragging about it on Instagram, bragging about how big your house is, how many cars you have, how much salary you earn. I know a guy who sent me his contract showing me how much annual salary he earns. I don't even know until this day why he was sending this to me. This is stupid. Why are people doing this? Because they want to brag, Look, I have a 6-figure income. This is the mindset behind in these Western countries. It's all about what you have, keeping up with the Joneses, and yeah, as another woman complained, in these Western countries, it's all about just making money and paying your bills. But it's not about the social life, The social life is lacking. This is what they find, this is what they feel. And that's the big problem for these women and also men who live in foreign countries. Another viewer also pointed out that there are basically, in her opinion, are 4 things which Indonesians take into consideration when moving abroad. This is the food, we talked about this already. That's the religious practices, this is also true. Many Indonesians are Muslims, and that's gonna be a little bit difficult then when you move to a Christian country. Then the parents play a big role again, and where you are buried, Yeah, that makes sense, because if you are buried in a foreign land, then how can your relatives or family members ever visit your grave, And coming back to the parents, she told a story of one of her colleagues, or a guy she met in a foreign country, and they were chit-chatting a little bit, and the guy turned out that he said he will go back to Indonesia, and the girl asked her, so why? Aren't you happy here? Yeah, he said, I'm okay here, but I forgot which country. I'm okay here, but but my parents, they're missing me so much. And even though he has been visiting his parents twice a year and things like that, still the parents apparently make a big drama. This is also one thing in Indonesia, some parents make big drama then. But fact is, they are missing their children. So this boy gave up his job in this Western country and then traveled back to Indonesia because his parents miss him so much. This is a thing I wouldn't do. I remember even my mom misses me a lot, but I never considered going back to Germany just because my mom misses me so much. But these are the dynamics in Indonesian culture, yeah? Family, very important. Another comment here from a girl also living in a Western country. She said, there is no shrimp paste. Only people who are familiar with Indonesian food and culture will understand what she is complaining about. And she also said there are no veggie sellers passing by, or no snack sellers passing by in these Western countries, which is true. In Indonesia it's very common. They call it kaki lima. Kaki lima is basically a street food stall, located on the roadside. You can buy foot. Kaki lima, it means, also lima is 5 and kaki is the foot. So kaki lima is 5 foot. And this is basically 5 foot is the size of the stall, basically, more or less. So that's why they call it kaki lima in Indonesia. And you can find them anywhere and everywhere. And you can buy very cheap food at the kaki lima. But they're also mobile kaki lima, you know, they're going through the neighborhood, you know, they make some noise and then indicating that they are now around, and people hear that, they go outside of their house, buy some fried rice, some fruit, vegetable, whatever, you know. So it's actually very convenient. People don't need to go to the supermarket and buy, or to the restaurant and buy their food. And you don't have that in Western countries. In Western countries, you have your supermarkets, fair enough, and then you have very expensive restaurants, that's it. And you have McDonald's and Burger King and other stuff, you know, KFC and all that funny stuff, you know. But there are no kaki limas, there is no street food in Germany, yeah, basically. Yeah, you can find some döner kebab and currywurst and stuff, you know, like German sausages and some Turkish snacks, but basically it's totally different than in Indonesia, and these people are missing that, you know, these small things, you know. So, to conclude this video, we can see and learn, and we have learned already, that by going through these comments here, that Indonesian people are very social creatures, very social beings, right? Human interaction, human connection is very important to them. This is their fabric. The warmth, the connections play a huge role in Indonesian society. Indonesian people are also very sensitive people when it comes to human connections. Indonesians are also, in my opinion, therefore not only socially more intelligent, but also emotionally more intelligent, without going into further detail here. But it is interesting to watch and observe how Indonesians deal and interact with each other, you know, and this is my conclusion. In Germany, for example, we fight, we argue directly. It can get noisy, but in Indonesia it's more reserved, more de-escalating, you know. And by doing this, when Indonesian people don't jump into a fight straightforward. They also can fight, they're great fighters, but you know, it's more de-escalation, you know. It's all about saving face. And by saving their own face, they also save your face, by the way, which is it's emotionally very intelligent. I find that fascinating, you know. They do not engage in fighting with you, not because you're a foreigner, that also plays a role, but because they also want to save your face. It's actually very smart. We can learn from that. So, do Indonesian women hate the West? No, they don't hate. Indonesian people, actually, they cannot hate. But they love their country. This is true. They deeply and strongly love Indonesia. They have a very strong connection to their homeland, and they are very proud of their country. They are very proud to be Indonesians. And certainly some things are okay when they move to Western countries, you know. You earn more money. That's what they say, these people, these Indonesians. Yes, you can earn more money, which is good. You save and then you later bring it back to Indonesia. You have more discipline in these Western countries. There is more law and order and less corruption. Yes, these things certainly are true and valuable also, but bottom line, most of the Indonesian people and most of the Indonesian women, they want to return to their homeland, to their home country, want to build a house, want to start a family, maybe want to start a small business, you know. A business which can sustain their family and their life and everything. And that's the conclusion. And that's what they really want, you know. They don't hate, but they love their home country. And this is something I maybe still have some difficulties to follow and understand. This is what we Westerners, maybe some of us cannot really understand anymore because of the developments which happened and are still going on in Western societies. I'm talking about the destruction of our social fabric in our Western countries, the atomization of society, and everything is more individualistic. But that's a topic for another video. But overall, one could say, and I also claim that unfortunately many Western people have lost their sense for community, their sense for family, and also they lost the connection to their homeland somehow. I mean, look at me. I left Germany in 1998 for different reasons. I wanted to make career, I wanted to travel. And for me, Germany is not so important anymore these days, but also for various reasons. And even though Germany is a beautiful country, again, I travel back next week. We'll stay for a while at my mom's place. I'm visiting her. Looking forward to it, of course. I'm also looking forward to Germany. It's a beautiful country, but somehow, yeah, Western people in general, not only in Germany, but also in other countries, have not such a strong connection to their homeland anymore for various reasons. Anyway, checking out for today, looking forward what you have to say about this. I found it very interesting. And again, I did this video here also for you to, now you should be able to understand Indonesian people and especially Indonesian women better, and understand their psychology, their beliefs, their values, what they value, what's important to them, right? And you learn something about the culture. And yeah, maybe you're dating an Indonesian woman, maybe you're married to one, and you're still wondering today, hey, why she's not happy here? Why she's not happy in Germany? Why isn't she happy in Canada? I try to provide everything for her. We have a big house, we have 2 cars. I fly business class and my company pays, and I even post the pictures on Instagram, I like bringing this joke, Actually, it's not a joke, it's true. I know one guy in Europe who's doing this kind of thing, but I'm providing all this and my wife is not happy. My wife is talking all day long of going back to Indonesia. Yeah, now maybe you know why that is. Or maybe you don't understand, or maybe we will never really understand why that is, because of the things I mentioned at the end of my video. Because we Westerners, we are coming from a different culture, we have a different mindset, and then the social, the corrosion and erosion of the social fabric, which in my opinion is political. There is an agenda behind it, but that's a topic for a different video. Looking forward to your comments. I'm gonna check out for today. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you in one of my next videos. Take care, bye bye.